he's just mad still about earlier. I'm not going to hash it up again. I'm just going to leave it alone, whatever. So then, during dinner, we, play this stupid, game where we talk about each other and we try to tell each other about our good traits.
What we like about
What we like about each other. Well, because it's date night and...
Whose idea is that?
It starts off sarcastically.
This is what couples do before they're married. So you guys are in your marriage.
It starts off sarcastically because...
We've never done that.
Sorry.
I'll do...
Teach their own.
Yeah, I'll do something stupid, and he'll be like, see, that's why I love you so much, if I, because I was, hella fumbling with, all my food, so he'll, start off with, see, this is why I love you so much, and then, so then we'll go off and, no, I love you so much because, you're so patient with me, I love you so much because blah, 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 so the game continues, right, and we're laughing, right? So then he goes, well, what would you say if I asked you to marry me? So I'm still laughing, right? Because, we're still joking, and, this whole week, everyone's been talking about marriage. And so I was like, yeah, and he's like, what would you say? And I'm like, yes. And then he goes, well, what would happen if I get down on one knee and ask you to marry me? What would you say? And I'm like, yes, right? And I'm like, and so I'm like, and I'm like, well, do you know the Muffin Man? Just to throw him off. And he's like, and he's rolling his eyes, but this is what we do, right? We just throw each other off.
You know the Muffin Man?
Yeah. So then he starts the game over, right? And I'm fine, right? So then he's like, he's like, do you love me? And I'm like, yes. And then he starts saying it again. So then, as he's saying, he's like, well, what if I get down on one knee and ask you to marry me? And I'm like, yes. So then he gets up, and I'm like, what are you doing? Right? And he comes towards me, and I'm like, what? Where are you going? So then he, kisses me, and I'm like, what the hell? And he's like, I gotta go to the bathroom. And I was like, oh, okay. So then he turns around, and I'm like, what the hell? Right? And I'm like, because first I was kind of already figuring, oh my God, is he fucking asking me to marry him? But then he turns around and says he has to go to the bathroom. So I was like, oh, okay. So then he turns back around. Yeah, I was like, oh my God, he's got motive. I know. So then he turns around, he's going to the bathroom, and I was like, okay. And then, he turns back around, and then he gets on one knee, and I'm like, what are you doing? And then he, so then he reaches in his pocket, and I'm like, oh shit. And then he takes out the ring. He's like, you mean the world to me. And he's like, I love you, with all my heart. Will you marry me? And I'm just sitting there staring, right? And I'm like, oh my God. So I just take the box, and I'm just looking at the ring. And he's like, is that a yes? And I was like, oh, okay.
He needs an official yes.
So then I was like, yes. And then he's like, well, what are you doing? So he takes the box back from me, because I'm still staring at it. And then he puts the ring on, and then he's like, will you marry me? And I'm like, yes, I said yes.
And where people were like, what are these
Well, no.
Well, I was totally oblivious to whoever's watching.
Yeah.
But our server noticed, the hostess noticed, he gave us complimentary champagne. And
But he asked for a secluded table, in the back.
Ah, yeah.
So we were in the back corner.